Welcome. It is Thomas Meinert, and we are going to be trying something new again because I tried to do this last week and had some technical difficulties. But I'm really excited to start live streaming once a week, and I want it all to be very involved. And I want people to ask me questions about the real estate market, ask me questions about Central Iowa, just any topic you want to dive into. That is the idea behind this show. Normally, I'm going to do it Thursdays, but tomorrow is Thanksgiving and I am taking the day off. And I recommend that all you guys take the days off as well. So, here is kind of the plan. I am going to come in with a topic of my own, and then everything else is just going to be based on my followers' questions. I collected some great questions last week that I'm going to be going over and talking about. And I also realized part of the fun of it being a live stream is I don't know where my notes are. But we're having fun. So, comment questions that you have. I'm going to just start talking, and this should be a great time. So, let's get this set up in a way I like. Okay, I'm going to hide this banner. Let's talk about 50-year mortgages. Trump made a Truth Social post kind of hinting at this is something that he wants to do to make housing more affordable. Affordability is one of the biggest issues that we have in the real estate market. First-time home buyer, the average age of a first-time home buyer right now nationally is 40 years old, and it keeps getting older and older. So that is obviously an issue, and this is something that he thinks is going to fix it because 50-year mortgage, if you spread out a mortgage like that, it makes the monthly payments a little bit smaller, and it should help affordability. Here's the issue. Your savings after the adjusted rate that they probably will make on the average loan are going to be right around $119. So you're really not saving that much. That $119, that monthly payment saving, might help a few people get approved, but the people that would get approved that would make a difference for them, it just probably isn't going to be the best option. When I'm always talking to people about getting into their first time home, you're comparing it to renting versus buying. One of the biggest pieces of advice I always give out is you really got to rent the cheapest place you possibly can, save up money, start making more money, and then all of a sudden purchasing a home can be a great option if it is the right time for you. What do I mean when I say it's the right time for you? Are you willing to plant roots in the place that you're willing to buy? Because people that win in real estate own the house for a very long time. Speaking of owning the house for a very long time, if you were to do a 50-year mortgage versus a 30-year mortgage, and you were to complete the life of both of those mortgages, which doesn't realistically happen a lot. Most people move anywhere between 8 or 10 years, every 8 or 10 years. But if you were to complete the life of that mortgage, you would be almost paying double the amount of interest on that loan, which is really crazy. It's not something I would recommend doing. And then also, assuming your home value stays the same, which it's kind of a tough assumption because the majority of times people's home values do go up every year. In Central Iowa, the average appreciation is right around 3 or 4% every year. Like if you look at a really big historical average, but if you're assuming it would take you right around 8-10 years even to get yourself in an equity position where you could realistically sell. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So let's go into the listener questions that we had, and let's cover them. Bryce commented saying, "Hey Thomas, I love this idea so much." Thank you, Bryce. You're awesome. What are those common inspection items that come up? So when he says common inspection items, I immediately start thinking about me personally. It always ends up being electrical issues that come up a lot is one of the more common ones I see. Some sort of small scale leak comes up a ton of times. And for people that don't know, when you're doing a home inspection, you're doing a home inspection to find health and safety issues. You're doing a home inspection to find structural issues, and you're also doing a home inspection. The home inspector is going to try to point out issues that will cost more than $500 to fix. So Electrical issues a lot of times can fall into health and safety because they are potential fire hazards. So a lot of times, if it is what I would call like a normal sale, you can negotiate getting those problems fixed, and they are very, very common. Plumbing, if it is a bad enough leak, can kind of fall into structural. So a lot of times you can negotiate getting that fixed as well. And Bryce also asked, are these mostly due to deferred maintenance? Plumbing, I would say yes. I think that's something really, really easy that you could do maybe once or twice a year. All your visible plumbing that you have, look for signs that it's leaking, listen for signs that stuff is leaking. So that could potentially fall into deferred maintenance if you're just not paying attention to that type of stuff. Electric stuff, I run into this all the time. People are often just not aware because you don't know you have an electric issue a lot of times until you have it. The only way to really know about the issue is to get a professional home inspection or get an electrician to look at it. But otherwise, if you don't run into an issue, you don't know the electric problem is there. And a lot of times with electric issues, it's really not a problem until it's a problem, if that makes any sense. What are some good ways and steps to take to minimize these items? And what are the simple maintenance tasks that can be done to prevent these items? So I can share this with you if you want, or just do a quick Google search. Reach out to me. I like talking to all my followers, so just reach out to me. There are really, really great yearly checklists that you can download that just give you tasks to do every month. Like, hey, let's go outside and walk and look and make sure all the gutters are working correctly. Let's walk and look at the foundation and see if there's any visible cracks that we see. Just small, constant things to be aware of and to look at in your house to make sure that they're functioning correctly. Lastly, what are the most common negotiated items that stem from home inspection findings during the process of sale? So I already mentioned this. It's a lot of stuff that electric comes up. So plugs not being GFCI when they should be GFCI. Ungrounded outlets come up a lot. So a lot of people will update their electric and put 3-prong outlets when they really shouldn't be 3-prong outlets. That comes up all the time. And a lot of the times, like I said, if it is a reasonable enough ask, a lot of that stuff can be negotiated, especially in a market that we're sitting in right now where sellers are wanting to sell their house. If you're the only buyer for the house and you want these fixes that cost X amount of dollars that seem reasonable to a seller, they're just going to go ahead and get that stuff done to sell the house a lot of the times. And you just got to remember, when you have a good buyer's agent and you have a good listing agent on the other side, that these obstacles can be overcome. You can get a house that you're happy with, that you know what's wrong with, and move in and be very, very happy. So that is just some things to keep in mind. The other thing that I will say, and this is, in my opinion, this is why you get a home inspection done, right? You don't get the home inspection done for these little things. Yes, you do get it done for these little things, but the big things are what you want to know about. You don't want to be in a house 6 months and all of a sudden find this very, very expensive repair that needs to be done that you had no idea about. You want to know about these big, expensive repairs before you close and before you own the house. So a home inspector, they're just doing a visual inspection, right? But visually, they can tell you their opinion on the roof, the foundation. They can look at the electric panel. Bryce is a home inspector. He used to be an electrician. And one of the reasons I recommend him a lot, he's on my recommendation list, is because he can give us a really, really good opinion on the whole electric system by the panel and just everything else that's going on. The sewer is another big one that can cost a lot of money if they need to be fixed. So that's why you get a home inspection, is the last note I will give on that. And when I've had ones where big issues come up and we still get the deal done, because the other thing that you have to remember is the seller, if they don't come to terms with you, now that they know about the defect, they still have to get it fixed or disclose it. So they still have to sell it to someone else with that big issue that was found. So you would be surprised. Even if you find big issues, a lot of times you could still come to a deal. Connor, my friend Connor, commented saying, "What are some of the most cost-efficient ways to increase the value of their house? And is there any way to measure a good return on investment? I.e., if I spend $5,000 on updating the bathroom, can I increase the selling price by $10,000?" Here's what I will say: things that really, really appeal to the common buyer is a remodeled bathroom, a remodeled kitchen, and a home that is just in generally well kept and in good shape. So if you're buying a house and you've been living in it for 1 or 2 years and you think you want to update the kitchen and bathroom, do it, because the buyers are going to be happy to see it. The numbers on it aren't necessarily a great return. You don't normally, if you're paying a professional to do the remodel for you, you don't normally see like some crazy return, but you do see a little bit of a return. And the biggest caveat with these big remodel projects like the kitchen and the bathroom is it's going to make the house so much more enjoyable for you to live in. And with that, if it's more enjoyable for you to live in, the odds are that you will live there longer. And like I said earlier, that is the biggest way to win in real estate, is buying a piece of a house, buying a piece of real estate, and staying in it for a long time. Because the longer you have a loan, the more life on the loan, the more principal you're paying down every month, and the more equity you're building, and the longer you're in a home, you can withstand any sort of real estate market volatility. We are blessed that we live in central Iowa, and there really isn't a huge market volatility in home prices. You do see some years where home values don't go up a ton, and you see some crazy years like 2020, 21, 2022, where people see a big return, but you don't normally see years where you see a big decrease. But the longer you stay in the house, the more you keep stacking those years where, hey, my home value grew by 2-3%, my home value grew by 2-3%, and it just keeps stacking and stacking. So those remodel projects really make it so you are living in a home for a longer time. Now, if you are getting ready to list your home and thinking about remodeling the kitchen and remodeling the bathroom to make it better to sell, I would not do that. That is not a project that I would do. Some projects I would consider doing because I see great return on investment for them for people that are getting ready to list their house. If your carpet is dated at all, replace it. New flooring has a great ROI to it, an amazing ROI to it. Fresh paint in the interior and the exterior has an amazing ROI. Fresh paint does wonders as far as odor in the house. It makes the home seem cleaner, and it gives kind of the buyers a blank slate to imagine what they can do with the house. So fresh paint does amazing. One low key one that I don't see a lot of people do that I would really, really recommend is make sure your landscaping, and especially at the front of the house, is at the very least cleaned up and new. You got to remember, when people are going to see your house, the first thing that they will see is the view as they are walking up. So is if there's any overgrowth or if there's just poor landscaping that looks old, it starts the whole thing off on a bad note. So just remember that. I mean, selling your house is a lot like picking up a girl at a bar. First impressions really, really matter. So just remember that. Those are 3 things that I would look at: that new flooring, new paint, and fresh landscaping. And I would just toss in, this literally doesn't cost any money, is decluttering. And the only way it would possibly cost money is if you have to pay for like a storage space just to move stuff out of your house. But the bigger you can make your house feel, the better. So just decluttering, getting rid of fixtures that you use when you live there because they're practical to have, but make the home show not as well. Get rid of those fixtures. Make sure that there's nothing living on the counters of any of your house. Just declutter absolutely everything and de-clean that house. And you're going to have such an easier time selling it. And it's really not that big of an investment. It is a small investment. So remember that. So long story short, if you just moved into the house, I definitely see a kitchen and bathroom remodel as worth it. You're going to get that money back when you eventually go to sell it, and it'll make it more likely that you live in the house longer. So I see a great return on investment in that. If you're thinking about selling within 6 months or so and just looking for projects to do before you list, paint, flooring, landscape, declutter. So, Connor, great question. We got Jared Nicolaisen that popped in a question, and he said, I am curious right now if you're seeing opportunities for buyers right now, and on the flip side, if it's good for a buyer, does that make the sellers at a disadvantage? So I would say, I'm going to start with the second question first here. Are the sellers at a disadvantage in a buyer's market? It kind of sort of depends. In a buyer's market, I think the smartest thing the sellers can do is to get with their listing agent as early as possible and come up with a great game plan to make sure their home presents as nicely as possible the first week that they are listing it. So make sure your listing agent has a great plan for photos, a great plan for online marketing, a great plan for the first open house. And this is the most important part. So if you're taking notes, start taking notes. Price. Your price in a buyer's market is the most important thing, because what is your goal as a seller? Your seller's goal should be to sell the home as quickly and for as high a price as possible. So how do you do that? You make sure a lot of people are looking at your house online, in person. You make sure as many people are seeing it as possibly, and you make sure that they feel like when they're putting in an offer that they're not in a position of power. So how do you get the position of power as a seller? You generate demand and get multiple offers. And how do you get multiple offers? You do all those things that are saying. And the most important part of that is making sure that it's at a really, really realistic price that everyone can immediately see the value of it. And people see the value of it by it being at a good price and it being presented really, really well. As simply as that. So yeah, some people would say if you're selling in a buyer's market, it's a disadvantage, but not if you game plan properly. People break the market all the time. I see buyers get great deals. I see sellers get great deals in any type of market. Now, on to Jared's first question. What opportunities do I see out there? I got some interesting statistics that I want to throw out there for you guys. So the central Iowa market as a whole, the Des Moines area, median list price is currently down year over year. So just in general, if you are looking at a house now compared to last year, the list prices are lower than they would before. So just in general, that seems like a good deal for buyers, right? The median sold price is also down over year. So people are already getting into these homes cheaper on average, well, not on average, on median than they were last year. So that is a really, really big positive. There's more price reductions. So in the month of October, there was more price reductions this year than there was last year. So not only, this is kind of going hand in hand, like list prices are going down, so therefore people are doing more price reductions. But I just want to emphasize to you guys, like things are trending in a somewhat positive way for buyers. Interest rates have still kind of stayed right where they're staying. So that's not trending in the right way for buyers, but prices are getting better. They're trending that way. And I will say too, we're a day before Thanksgiving. As soon as Thanksgiving is done, we're running into Christmas is not that far away. The average person right now is thinking we get through Thanksgiving, and all of a sudden they think about all this Christmas shopping that they're doing. So what does that mean? For buyers that aren't desperate, for people that are just kind of like, we're going to buy a house eventually, but it's not high on their priority list, that means they're not out there shopping. So people that have their homes listed right now aren't seeing as much buyer activity just because of the seasonality. Like that's just the way the market always goes. So what does that mean for you as a buyer? That means maybe you sit out. I hate to say this as someone that wants to sell houses. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I want to sell houses. But maybe you sit out December and we get into January and we see what's still on the market and we see if there's anything that fits your needs. And the odds are some of those people that have listed that house have had it listed in November, December, and it's January now and they really, really want to sell it. What does that mean for you as a buyer? That means you're in a great position to buy that house and get a good deal and get some seller concessions to help you not pay as much cash at closing. Or we just get a good purchase price and you immediately build equity, because if that seller would have been more patient, they eventually would have got a better offer, but they want to take the offer that was right there. They want to take your offer and you get a good deal. Like I said, no matter what market that we're in, I see homes sell for great deals and I see homes sell for way overpriced, no matter what kind of market that we're in. So make sure you have a buyer's agent that is helping you navigate and not just telling you what the list price is, but telling you their opinion of the value too, which is something I do for every single showing. I run a price analysis on the house and give you my opinion on the price, not just based on vibes. I am a vibey guy, but I run numbers and see, can we justify this list price? Is it underpriced? Is it overpriced? And I'll tell you both ways. Now, listen to what I'm saying and hear what I'm actually saying. When I say a listing is overpriced, I'll tell you kind of the range. And we're not getting 10, 20% off of listings unless the home needs a lot of work. But a lot of times there's people that they're maybe listed $5,000, $8,000 too high, and we see what kind of opportunity we can make from there. Another opportunity I see in the market, other than just that was like an overhead view. A majority of the homes that are seeing price decreases are in that luxury price point, and they're in the really, really low price points. So like $200,000 and below, a lot of those homes are getting decreased even more. And like 800,000 and above, a lot of those homes are getting decreased even more too. So if you got a rich aunt or uncle that wants to move to the Des Moines area, have them hit me up, because if they're moving from the coast, Iowa's real estate prices probably still is really great for them, and they could get a good deal on a luxury home. So hit me up. The $200,000 and below, a lot of those homes need work. So I would talk to your investor friends and see if they thought about buying another investment property, because I think there's a lot of people that have homes that, like Bryce was asking about, that have deferred maintenance, that need work, that could make Des Moines has a really, really strong rental market right now. They can make great rentals, or they could make great flips, because if you were buy one now, do about 2-3 month flip, maybe a little longer, list it in spring, that's a great time to list a home. So those are kind of the two opportunities I see in the market right now and what I would point out to people. What are the most common unexpected costs of selling a home for first timers? Property taxes, repairs, seller concessions, settlement fees. Side note, all the above are great examples of why selling a home on your own can be wildly stressful if you don't have someone to prep you on the stuff up front. Yeah, so I mean, there's more that you pay to sell your home than just the compensation of your real estate agent and then the compensation of the buyer's agent, depending on who brings the buyer. Really quickly, compensation, in case you guys don't know, the laws of that have changed. They haven't really changed. They just changed how we disclosed it. But real estate agents' compensation is 100% negotiable. So when you're interviewing a listing agent, when you're interviewing a buyer's agent, talk to them about the compensation that they're going to be asking for from the sellers, how much that is. Ask that buyer's agent what all they are doing for you. And then the same thing, if you're looking for an agent to list your home, interview a few different agents. I should be one of them, but talk to them about the conversations they're asking and talk to them about what all they're offering. But I will just say with this one, yes, there's prorated property taxes. There's repairs that often come up. There's seller concessions that are very, very common right now. And all of those things are things that a listing agent should be disclosing to you before you list the house. They should be giving you an estimate of proceeds so you have an idea of how much it'll cost to sell your home. So that is it. That's all I have. This has been great, guys. I'm super excited to keep doing this every single week and be involved. If you're watching this video later, please comment your questions and I will answer them next week. And have a great Thanksgiving.